Okay, we'll call this June meeting of the Muskego Parks and Conservation Committee to order. First item is the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Wendy, you want to call the roll?
You can. So we got Alderman Schrader,
Here.
Toby Whipple,
Here.
Cassandra Bose.
Hughes.
Hugh- Oh, okay, that's not what's on. I apologize. Matthew Bugman,
Present.
Barbara Erdman. Here. Here. Bill Miller,
Here.
and Barb Schrader.
Here.
And then this meeting was posted in accordance with open meeting laws on June 16th.
Okay. New business, updates on the parks capital projects for 2025. Scott?
All right. So the first picture, and it's mostly about pictures, which is good because I like when we take cool pictures with our drones. So what you're seeing right there is Field 4 for Park Arthur, okay? As you can tell, Impro was one of the main sponsors of this, gave a big donation, if you can see, and you can see the Impro logos on there. So it was done really well. Everything looks great. This Friday will be the first time it'll be used. It's the Muskego Warriors tournament. So they will be using it for the first time this Friday. So it's going to be kind of exciting for us to use it. If you can scroll down a little bit, it's just going to kind of, here's another picture of it. And as you can see, this is the big, large Field 4, and then you can see the 3 in the back. So they'll be using all 4 fields for this weekend. One other kind of, it's a side note, if you look to the right and you see all the grading over there, that is Kirkland Crossing. Some people ask what's going on there. That is the Kirkland Crossing development. The first phase will be 66 lots. It goes all the way from Martin all the way over to College, and it'll be just abutting up easternly to Park Arthur, just for everyone to kind of put in perspective what's going on out there.
How many will there be total when you're done?
Total 139.
Okay.
So. Okay. The next one, which I kind of like, is so idle aisle ramp on the bottom here. We did the bolt ramp there, and the first pictures kind of give you the big picture of what all happened. And you guys can go take a look at it. What I think is one of the nicest things that we did is when you pull in, beforehand, when you go to the left, you would go and drop off your boat, and it was one way in, one way out. It was kind of a nice loop. Now to the north, when you come in, it's a one way in, one way out. So you don't have people that would go all the way down and find out that there's no parking, and then they would try to back it out. And it was just, so one, easily just to go loop around. 2, we added, I think about anywhere 10 to 20 new spots. It's all angle parking out there, as you can see. The other thing that's nice too is for DPW, emergency services, police. It's easy to make the one loop. And right now it's not busy, but as the weather starts getting warm, and I know this weekend is supposed to be in the 90s, idle aisle will be packed. So it's great that it's all done. And then if you look at the bottom, what we did then too is the boat ramp right there. If you could stop that boat ramp. Now the boat ramp is all done. A new concrete pad is right there. So that's perfect for when people are unloading and loading boats. So you can see how we could get 2 people in there back and forth. The other thing too is if you look by the grass on the west side, you see a couple vehicles parked there. We have 2 boat washing cleaning stations. That is probably, from my understanding from the DNR, the most effective way to take care of invasive species. So as you can see, that's been in place for a while, but it's just really nice where the boats are allowed to pull off to the side. We have 2 of them there to clean their boats, get all the invasive species off, and then they're off going. So, and then if you look at the very bottom picture, it gives you a nice picture of that nice loop of back and forth of just a one way around. And you can see the parking is now angled all the way through. So I'm sure that's going to be well received as idle aisle starts picking up during the summertime here. So Any questions about that?
Guess not.
Okay. The next one was the boxhorn dredging. So we did this project, it was in 2024, but we had to carry it over based off of when they could do it. So this is our proposed plan that we took into the DNR. About halfway down the pier, we did about 100 feet out, and then from the pier did 50 feet on both sides, and took about, we're going down about a foot, and then we got about 740 cubic yards to get dredged out there. If anyone's a boater, it's been one of the big issues of people coming in, launching their boat. So we got this passed, and then if you can scroll down to the next one. Yeah. So here it is. We just actually got to work. There's a picture of it all down. So you can kind of see where the areas got cleared out a little bit. And then if you look at the bottom area, that's double silt fence. And what that is, that was where the boxhorn building was. So that's where we put the dredge materials. It's drying out right now. And then we will go grab that material. And because it's very good in organics, we'll mix it back in with some of our topsoil. So we'll reuse that and recycle that material. So the next one that is then coming up when we start talking about the next ones in 2026 will be the Dunoon boat launch that we'll be dredging. But that's kind of like a quick dredging project if anyone has ever seen one. So I think the hardest part about it is not doing the work. It's all the grants and working with the DNR and getting the sampling. I probably had to, for that one, I had to get 3 permits and just going through the process. It's just a process. So.
Desperately needed. All good projects. Anybody have any questions?
I have a question about this one with the different depths on it. Is that is how deep you dredged it?
Yeah, it just kind of, if you go back, we had to give them an estimate. So we have to tell them what it is. So we know kind of how it goes down, like 1 foot, 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet. That is kind of like the lake bed that we took off of what our knowledge is. We have to provide it when we gain a permit. What is your plan of attack? So this is a good way to show like, okay, we're going to do about 50 feet from the pier, 100 feet, and then we're going to go down so much. But we're trying to do the best we can of what is the base of the lake. So, and this is just one document of many that I have to provide to the DNR in order to get the permit. So.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. Thanks, Scott.
Mm-hmm.
On to capital projects.
Yeah, so again, if you want to go down to the next one, Wendy, it kind of gives an overview, hopefully. Okay, so what I would like you guys to do is look, I always do this every year. This is kind of like our 5-year plan. It's still a draft form. I do not have to turn this into finance to July 11th of this year. And then we go and talk about capital probably in August, September this year. But we try to give you a 5-year plan of what we're all doing, okay? There's a lot of numbers that we still have to get. We're working with anything that we're proposing in 2026. We're working very hard to get the numbers and seeing what makes sense, what doesn't make sense, if we're gonna cut things, if we're not gonna cut things. The biggest things in 2026, I say the biggest item is probably the splash pad. It is the #1 item that we still have in the parks survey. All the other ones, like a dog park, we got a dog park a couple of years ago at Moreland. The big thing is the cost. And what we're trying to do is both the splash pad, put a storage area where we could have to put the mechanicals for the splash pad, and then have 2 heated bathrooms there. If we don't, we might have to pull things back. We're still looking at all the cost, and we're still looking with the vendor. But when we turn it in July 11th to finance, we'll have a better idea of what the way it's going to go. The other big item that we have is the Lake Dunoon boat launch. That's the dredging that we're going to do there, about $135,000. Right now, what we're doing is we're working with the DNR. We are requesting what are the criteria we need so that we can get a sample. Once we get a sample, then we can finish the permit so that we'll be all ready to go in 2026 to do the dredging. It's going to be very similar to what we just did, but probably a little longer at Dunoon. It's more of a narrow channel, but it's a little tighter there. So we kind of have a game plan and then working through the DNR. The plan would be, after we get the sampling, is somehow put it on site at Dunoon Park, let it dry out, do the same thing with silt fence, and then somehow reuse it. Maybe we reuse it in the park, or we take it and we reuse that as with our topsoil for the new one. And then the other two kind of big ones, Manchester Park Pavilion, it needs a new roof. So we have a quote on that, and I know Ryan was actually meeting with the vendor today to get a better quote. And then we're thinking at Idle Isle concession stand, we would like a rolling one. If you go into our meeting room one, you hit a button, it rolls up nicely. We have one that you push out and then we kind of hang on it. And we're working, maybe even the water bugs might want to kind of go in with us on that one. But those are the 4 major items that we have for parks. Most of the other ones are standard stuff that for just maintenance of the parks. But if there's anything else that you see, not even just for 2026, but that you guys hear, let us know so that we can plan accordingly for 27, 28, 29, 2030, or even if it's 6 years out. You guys, are part of the community. You hear it more. We get some in the surveys, but if you hear anything else that we're looking to do. So, any other questions?
Can any of the dredging, are there any grants for that at all ever?
The one that we got the grant for was the boating recreational facility, the boat launch.
Right.
I have not found one for the dredging. I can always ask and see what it could do. I haven't found one. The other one was for the recreational, and that was everything on the shoreline in. So, and that's just to go back why Alderman Schrader is bringing that up. For the Idle Isle project, guys, we got $150,000 from the DNR. $75,000 they already gave us up front. Now that the project is done, I'm collecting all the invoices. I'm collecting all the paperwork. I mail it in. We get another $75,000, and we received $150,000 for that whole project, which is a really nice, chunk of change. It was a great grant. It covered half the cost of all that work. So. I can look into the dredging, and I have time. We're not going to do this till next year. So the only thing with the dredging that works a little bit based off of different fish species, there's only a certain time we can dredge, just to let you know, due to fish species with spawning. And they'll let us know which ones are in the area, the DNR. So, but I can look into it.
And you save that soil that you dredge up because it's so organic and good, and just use it wherever
we'll mix it in. We have topsoil at the yard, but the biggest thing is we want it to dry out because you don't want to move wet soil.
Heavy, wet.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. And we want to keep it on site or close to it because let's say it's contaminated, we have to probably take it to a landfill, and that will cost a lot of money. So when you can move it and keep it on site and let it dry up, it's a lot cheaper for everyone, just to let everyone know. So that's kind of like the game plan, and working through the DNR on all those. That's why another thing of the permitting, where are you going to put the dredge material? Is the dredge material, we got the sampling back, it looks good, this is what you can do with it. So.
Okay.
I'm glad you asked. There's a lot of dredging questions. It's good because a lot of people don't know that we do it once in a while. So.
I had a question about the splash pad, but I think you kind of answered it already. It doesn't have any amounts allocated for like maintenance or repairs or things, but
we were going to have to.
Yeah.
We were going to have to. I mean, it's no different than if you can see Park Arthur 4, all those fields, soccer fields. We're going to have to do something.
You just don't really have a number yet.
Well, first, council has to decide whether or not they want to do it. And once they do it, then we will probably have to provide some type of maintenance. We even have the dog park. I think for the dog park maintenance, it's, $2,000 maintenance yearly. Again, we have to, not all the grass survives out there for the dog park. There's a fountain out there. We provide dog bags, needed. So we will probably have to provide some type of maintenance out there. I mean, most of it we'll be able to do in-house, but there's always going to be some regular maintenance. It's just a fact of life, so.
Any other comments?
But it doesn't have to be here. Reach out, come in. Any ideas, guys? It's anything that you guys are thinking or you hear the public, we're always willing to hear any ideas, so.
Before the 11th.
Yeah, but even after 11th, guys, it just means I got to turn it in. We're here all the time. It's just, so, yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Scott. Director's report.
No, I moved it.
Recreation manager's
I'm
report.
watching this.
Kim? Sounds like it.
Did you sign it for me?
Yep.
Nowadays. Hello, everyone. I'm a little exhausted because I've been here since 7:15 this morning. We started playgrounds. We have almost 200 kids here today. So it's been a long day, but a good day nonetheless. A hot, sweaty day for sure. So we're just keeping on. Same stuff we've been doing for a long time. The economy has affected parks and recreation departments across the area. It has been rough for everybody with adult programming. Our kids' classes are doing well as always, but our adult stuff is kind of struggling a little bit, but not significant, just like 100 people less than we would normally have in classes this time of year. Things that, like cooking classes that would fill up immediately, we only have like 5 or 6 in them instead of our 8 or 9. But people are choosing what they're spending their money on rather than doing a lot of things. They're picking one core thing and sticking with it. However, if it's 4, 5, or 6-year-old sports, we can put it in there and it will fill up immediately. So we have huge waiting lists for our soccer, basketball, football, tennis, golf classes for the little kids. They're going gangbuster. One of the cool things we have this summer, we have an intern working with us. She's actually a Muskego kid who graduated from UW La Crosse, and she's finishing her schooling. Internships for recreation majors are similar to student teachers. So she actually is here. She is paying to be here as a class. She's working on a major project. We'd hoped she'd be able to be here and meet everyone, but her major project is creating and running a class, and that's happening right now at Mill Valley. She's teaching a volleyball class. And so maybe if we have another meeting, she'll be around for that. But she's getting an opportunity to find out how the rec department works with all the other city departments, working with, she's going to spend some time with Tom. She's going to spend some time with Pat out in the parks. We're going to kind of give her a big experience with everything. For us right now, she is overseeing the snack shack at Idle Isle, which opened up full-time once school ended. So she's doing inventory, staff scheduling, dealing with complaints, making sure the computer software is working, and we've had her hopping. She's running all over the place every day. She's going to be at playgrounds for a couple of hours on Thursday while we have a staff meeting as well, supervising kids. So, something we haven't done in a long time is we're bringing back the discounted ticket program. We used to participate for a long time with that. The Wisconsin Park and Rec Association works with vendors throughout the state for attractions, and they sell like greatly discounted tickets. We didn't do it for a while because we didn't have people in the office to actually be here to sell tickets because we have people coming in all day. But with our office person who is doing our community relations and stuff, we are able to structure it. So we brought it back this year. So we're selling tickets to Noah's Ark, the Milwaukee County Zoo, Mount Olympus, and Great America. The Great America tickets through us are for a very specific week, but it's like $30 less than anywhere else, and it includes free parking. So we expect to have a lot of those sales, and we get 75 cents of every ticket that we sell. So it's money coming back into our office, which is nice. It probably will be like $2,000, so we're pretty happy about that. That's kind of it. We are just knee deep in summer. So normally we meet a little bit later, I think, and we're in the groove. We're in the process of everything starting this week. We're working on fall programs already, thinking about what winter's going to look like for some of our ski programs and things like that. And then I'm working on budget. So it's long days for all of us in our office. Does anybody have any questions? We do have a beer garden coming up in July, and I did bring a couple copies of our book too, so if somebody doesn't have a copy of that, you can kind of take a look at it. We are going to be doing a beer garden at Idle Isle that is going to be a float up, boat up, kayak up, whatever, come up to the shore. We have a band playing. Adam and I are going to be working the beer truck, selling beer. So it should be a fun time. Proceeds for that will go back into our park budget. July 24th, I think. Yeah, it's a Thursday night.
Tammy, how many did you say are enrolled in the summer camp?
We have a full camp that it meets for 9 weeks. They pay $725 for the 9 weeks. We have 90 kids at Old Town Hall and 86 kids at Vets. And then we have 10 spots at each location. That's a weekly option. So for those parents who are going to be gone a lot on vacation, they can sign up for weekly options. Old Town Hall has 6 of those weeks that are full, and Vets has every week is about 5 or 6 kids in there.
Oh, so they can do like an à la carte week?
Yeah, so a lot of kids don't take it during summer school because Summer Learning Academy goes
Right,
until
it
like
overlaps.
1. Yeah, and so for those families, they might sign up, or when summer school's over, we'll get kids. But I think, and I'm not 100% sure, my database, I feel like is 217 families, because I just had to email a whole bunch of people because we're going to Mill Valley tomorrow because of the rain. So I feel like it's about that amount, 217, 220 kids. So it is a huge program. It is a huge undertaking. That's a long day with
I'm
kids.
just thinking back to the days when I had my kids there. Was it about the same?
Yep,
It
we had
seems like-
40, when your kids were little, we had 20 kids at Horn, the 4, 5, and 6-year-olds.
Yep.
And then we had 6 to 12-year-olds. We had 100 kids full summer at each location, Old Town Hall and Vets. The only time we had a dip in our numbers was during COVID, and that's because we limited people. We kept the sites to 50 kids so that we could still offer camp, and then we never brought them together. So if we did have something happen at one site, the other one could continue on. But we've been doing this program for 22 years, and I don't think we've had a year where we were not slammed with kids.
Okay.
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, no problem.
Conservation coordinator's reports. John?
Yeah, I was just gonna, I'm gonna go closer to that screen where I can read what I wrote because I can't read it right now. Hey, everybody. So the memo, I don't know if this came out yesterday. I don't know if you got a chance to read it. Doing invasive species control, big thing over at Badisher Preserve. And the presentation I'm gonna give is gonna show this really cool area where we discovered remnant plants from pre-settlement times, and we're building upon that, and we've done some restoration there. But I'll talk about that a little bit more. We did a lot of prescribed burning this year. We had the weather for it. The new workboat has already been used for moving some bogs around, and I understand, Scott, that there's a real problem down by the dam. So we're gonna have to tackle that. And then just a couple interesting anecdotes. There was a beehive, a bee swarm. I got a call from a resident. I'm like, that's not a city function. We don't do that. But I remembered that my friend Carl Hebner, who's on the Big Lake Committee, he's a beekeeper. So him and Amy went out there and they rescued the hive. And then another call about invasive crayfish. I had a friend who was able to set some traps and figure out that those were not invasive, they're native crayfish. So we let them go. We could have had a little crayfish boil though. That would have been kind of cool. But I think we'll do this, there's the picture. So I was just thinking that a lot of people don't really understand what I do for conservation land management. And a couple of years ago, I did a presentation for the DNR to a bunch of local communities. It was an 2-hour long educational thing. And so more communities would do the type of things that we're doing here in Muskego. And also was holding a class, some of the slides were from the class that I'm holding through the recreation program. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. So anyway, let's get that started, Wendy. Thanks. Oh, I need the clicker. Either that or I have to tell you to clicking on top, or what is it? Thanks. Okay, so can you go to the slideshow mode? Starting from beginning, up the upper left from beginning. There you go.
Right there. Yep.
Cool. Thanks. So here's a logo we came up with. We made some T-shirts for the people that participated in the conservation land management class. There's an osprey flying over a large bur oak tree, and then with the water in the background. Got it. Yeah. So this was a slide from that presentation, Managing Native Plant Communities. Here's a picture of Engel Conservation Area. These pale purple coneflower, as you see there on the left, that'll be blooming. It's just starting to bloom right now. So you missed the shooting star, you missed some of the earlier blooming things, but there's a lot of stuff that's going to start popping right now. So why do we do this? To have green space is one thing, but to make it a quality green space really is helpful. It helps with stormwater management. This is an area that'll recharge groundwater. It creates areas of undeveloped areas to reduce the overall density of development in a community. And there's been correlations that green spaces like that will reduce human stress. They'll monitor the blood pressure of people driving, and then it goes down when you drive past a park or a conservation area. And then the outdoor recreation opportunities that you'll have in outdoor education. So what happened to the land that we have to do this restoration? Well, the biggest effects are, the cow and the plow have had the biggest effect on North America. Farming is great. I mean, I'm glad we're being fed by farming, but it really did a number on the native plant communities that are out there. So the loss of native plant communities since pre-settlement, 0.1% of prairie remains right now. Think about that. There's a pie chart up there. That little sliver is 1%. You can't even really show what 0.1%. The bottom one, it doesn't even show up. Same thing with oak savannas, and half of the wetlands have been lost. So we want to make these spaces that we do still have better. And the native plants are important. At the bottom of the food pyramid here, does everybody see this? On the very bottom is the plants that feed everything else. We are at the top of the food web, and it's important. That's the important layer that feeds everything going further up the chain.
So we can get rid of mosquitoes to
Mosquitoes have a place. Actually, I'm glad you brought up insects. So what good are insects? Could live without them, right? Not true at all. I mean, if you go back, it feeds everything. Can I go back? Oh, whatever. There it is. Oop. Oop. Oh, you're gonna do it? Okay. Without the insects, the things above that on the food chain they have nothing. And one of the biggest services that insects do, you think of dung beetles. What a terrible thing, right? Dung beetles. They break down stuff. Otherwise, literally shit would pile up. This has to be broken down, and it goes back and it recycles nutrients. So let's keep going, if I can. So to talk about insect decline, we know of 1 million insects. We've named them. There's 1 million that are named. Estimates are that there's 4 million more out there that we don't even know. They don't even have a name. We don't know what they are. Somebody has to name them. And then we're losing species every year, and we're losing the number of insects, the amount of insects that are feeding everything above it. So here's Muskego's conservation lands. This is what we have right now. Muskego has 28 conservation sites that cover 580 acres. The DNR owns 1,000 acres in the community, and there are 500 plus acres of private conservancy land. And then within Muskego County Park, there's 148 acres. So scattered around, there are these green spaces. Envision when everything else is built out, we're going to be happy that there's some respite, there's some green space in between. So a lot of what I do is manage non-native plants. Non-native plants are a problem because in the new land that they're in, they don't have the checks and balances that they had in the old land that they came from. That things that feed on it, the things that disease it, things that just keep it in check. When an invasive species comes here without those checks and balances, it can kind of run roughshod over the landscape. So we do things to level that playing field and knock them back. You hear in the memos, I'm talking about buckthorn all the time. This is the #1 plant that's in the woods. That's the invasive plant. There's many more, but we will cut it. We treat the stem with herbicides. Here's one of my assistants using a backpack sprayer. This is a little device that'll treat some of those stems. And then the material we have to pile and burn, or we can chip and take it somewhere else to get rid of it. But the easiest way to deal with it in a conservation area is to pile it up and burn it. This is an area that's close to a couple of committee members here's home, actually Barb's home. This is near, this is the Ridges site near, just north of Battleship Preserve. This is where we found incredible amounts of native plants that still exist. It wasn't affected heavily by grazing. So there's remnant prairie and savanna plants here, and we got rid of the buckthorn, and it's flourishing. So if you look on the bottom on the left, that was in winter when it was cleared. Allowing the sunlight, it just shot open with all these blossoming plants. So though they were suppressed in the shade of all the buckthorn. So how far down is it? Down the path? Bottom of the hill, just off this, just southwest of your property, pretty much. Okay. I think. No, I'm facing it the wrong way. There we go. So this is a time lapse of the brush clearing. I think I may have showed this before. Can you just hit play or something? There we go. This is like a whole afternoon of work with a lot of people. So you can see it getting cleared out and getting burned. I wish it went that fast. So that hillside behind is a south-facing slope, and it had all these native prairie and savanna sun-loving plants that were still there, starting to get overly shaded by all the shrubs that were there. There we go. Other invasive plants, garlic mustard, we'll talk about that. Can you click the next one? Just going to kind of go through these. And I got to show some good plants. These are trilliums. Muskego has, in the wooded areas of Muskego, this purple trillium, prairie trillium, bloody butcher. It's got a bunch of common names. It's Trillium recurvatum. It's a really cool looking plant, and it just got done blooming. This is large flowered trillium, Trillium grandiflorum. This is right here in the woods, just north of City Hall. There's the cabin that's by the boardwalk. Some other bad plants, invasive plants, wild parsnip. This is one that causes phytophotodermatitis. The sap will give your skin a sensitivity to ultraviolet light, and you will sunburn excessively in areas that have the sap on it. So you don't want to get this plant on you. So we try to control it. Oop. What happened? Oh, yeah, so here is a couple of my assistants over the years. Steve on the left is, he put long sleeves on so that he wouldn't get any sap on his arms. Although Ben was trying to be careful. And I don't know hopefully he went home and washed his arms off, because that stuff could get you. Teasel, here's another one. You see all these on the roadsides. This one's really, really invasive, really takes over. Can you click the next one? I don't know why it's not working. What's the, so that was teasel in the last frame. People used to plant that and use it in dry flower arrangements, and it's native to Europe, and it's spreading all over the roadsides. If you go down Root River Parkway on Highway 100, where it crosses the Root River, it's everywhere there. It's terrible. Canada thistle is another one. It's really not from Canada. This thing spreads like crazy. Wendy, I'll just let you click it. Can you go to the next one? There you go. Oh, Phragmites. Oh, this is another one. If you go by Fleet Farm, right at the corner of College and Racine, you're going to see this stuff growing. We should actually go. It's a county road, but we should probably snuff it out. This stuff gets 15 feet high, and it grows. It spreads by its roots, and it'll overshadow everything that's growing there, and just keep spreading. It's spreading around Big Muskego Lake. If you go up in the northeast part of Wisconsin, it's all over the roadsides up there. Pretty much, it doesn't even have to be a wetland area, though it's a wetland plant. Too many to name, too many other invasive plants. Actually, this picture looks pretty, but it's Dame's rocket, which is non-native, and you'll see that in bloom right now. There is a native plant that looks similar to it, but this is not good. Anyway, there's a whole list. And I think we're almost done. There we go. So we've reconstructed prairies. This is some more pretty pictures of prairie plants as you'd see them blooming now within the next month. We made seed mixes. We spread this in areas to recreate that, to reconstruct those kind of prairies. This is a volunteer group or a high school group spreading seed by hand, and then this is where we mechanically spread the seed with a seed spreader. We'll go. When we spread it in winter, this is interesting. This is how nature plants seed. The freeze-thaw action of the ground actually opens up little openings, and the seed falls in that little in the openings that are in the frozen ground, and then it melts and then covers it, and then it freezes again, opens up again, so it can bury the seed in the soil as deep as it needs to, an inch or so, and then that's all it needs to sprout. Next one. Then the insects are enjoying the plants. We put some information about the prairie planting, let people know what we're doing. Next one. And we burn. We burn not just because it's cool. We burn because the plant communities depend upon it. Most southern Wisconsin plant communities have evolved with fire since at least since the glaciers receded. Could be longer. So what historically started fire? Well, lightning, it was just a small component of fires that would start on the land, but the biggest thing was humans. So native people, going back to Paleo Indians, were applying fire to the land. So think about that, 14,000 years since there's been Paleo Indians here, those plants have been accustomed to being burned regularly. So these plant communities are very adapted to fire. It's only the last 200 years, when you think about it, this area was settled in 1840. It's not even 200 years that we've suppressed fire. We're not doing fire anymore. So it's really important, not just helpful, it's needed for these plant communities to burn them once in a while. And this is how we do it today. We get training, we have burn plans, we watch the weather, we're proper personal protective gear, using fire breaks, and then we can have a nice fire. We got the next one. There we go. All right, this is a video. So can you click it? This is going to show a backing fire that's going into the wind in a very controlled manner. This is down on Kelsey Drive. This is just north of Danoon Park. So this is a prairie planting that we did, 20 years ago maybe. So it's showing the slow backing fire. Here's a flanking fire where the wind is now on the side, perpendicular to it. And then now I'm lighting a strip fire. There's a little bit of a head fire. It's going with the wind. See the different intensity of that flame when it goes with the wind. We only light head fire when it's safe downwind, and then it'll run out of fuel and just go out. So here's the final head fire. So it's a much higher flame height, but there's nothing there. There's no danger of it carrying anywhere else. This is the same site a couple months later. After we burn, there's a profusion of blossoming, especially with pale purple coneflower, the purple flowered plant there. But there's a lot of other things. There's silphiums, there's wild quinine, baptisia, butterfly milkweed. You'll see an orange plant that's butterfly milkweed. Oh, and
Were those seeds in the ground that you would spread before that you were doing already have planted that?
so it's a good question. The seed. So when we seed a prairie, it's the starting point, but we do interseed afterward. We can add more species. And it doesn't tend to burn off the seed that you plant, because if that seed can get a chance to work into the ground. So through that freeze thawing, that it gets deeper. So there's always the danger. You guys think you might be burning off the seed you're dropping down. And the perennial plants have a lot of seed, and they're dropping seed all the time, but they don't really need to reseed themselves because they've got a long life. Only once in a while that they're, to start a new plant. But once they're established, they're there for a long time. And then our conservation sites, we have opportunities for community involvement. Here's the group of high school science club members. They were out to learn, and they were actually collecting prairie seed that day. I think that might be the last slide. Yep. So any questions? It's just a quick overview of some of the conservation stuff that is going on out there. And I really encourage you to get out right now. They're just beautiful. To walk the trails at Badisher or Engel conservation areas. There's 3 miles of hiking trails in each one of them. If you get out in the middle of the day and you're out in the sun and the breeze, there's no mosquitoes. Where we burn, there's also really no ticks. We burn regularly, we don't get ticks. There's a couple areas where we hadn't, and I know where to avoid, or I need no spray down for getting ticks. Otherwise, it's not a big issue.
When did you burn last fall?
In spring, in March.
You didn't burn the area north of Kelsey this year?
This year we just skipped, we'll skip a year. We go kind of cycle through them every other year, sometimes 2 years in a row, but Yeah, we do burn frequently, but we don't want to let it go too long, but we give some rest. And that's good for insect preservation too. So if there's chrysalises of butterflies that are there, you don't want to burn those off. And a lot of other good insects that would be there. But it does put a hurt on the ticks though. That's pretty nice. Well, thanks.
Any questions
Yeah.
for Tom? Thanks, Tom.
Okay.
Any communications or miscellaneous items? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. For a second,
Second.
all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.